All right, guys, I am so very sorry about that. Ego did not want to be seen, and so we had to storm Ego, make sure that Ego went away. It is no longer Ego's time to shine. What did happen was we played Invisible Woman. Ego played Storm on itself and allowed us to do a Patriot. We're going to be able to do a Mystique on 5 into an Ultron on 6. So all things considered, for an Ego location, this has worked out fairly well. So thank you anyone that is bearing with me and jumped over between the streams. I went ahead and took off the Restream app. I don't know if that's what caused the lag. I know that it happened once before. But just in case, I'm going to go ahead and just exclusively stream to YouTube. We're gonna do away with splitting our assets. And so let's go ahead and lock in the Mystique into the Invisible Woman. Rando, yo, are we live? We are live. We are absolutely live, my friend. I hope that you're having a great day so far. So they have, oh man. So they have 9 power here. It looks like they're running a destroyer list. We have Patriot and Mystique. That's not going to ever win here, but neither is just an Ultron in Murder World. That's unfortunate. We end up losing this one. It looks way less laggy. I think it was the restream. Yeah, and it's weird because it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the restream works fine, and then today it looks like it was cutting our upload speed. So we're gonna make sure that we just focus on one for now. And YouTube is our primary focus, so that's where we'll stream at. And so Broncos guys, glad it's back. Dom, thank you for jumping over. Thank you everyone that jumped over from the other one into this one. I think we go ahead and retreat this one. This one's going to be a loss. It looks like a pretty standard destroyer list, and I'm assuming that they drew their destroyer. Any other play, they'd pretty much lose here. We would win this one, but we can't win Hellfire Club, and so 8 power leaning on 8 power to win one lane feels pretty subpar. So we're gonna start the stream off negatively, and then we'll climb back from there. What happened with the Ego game, or is this still that game? Warknox, that was still the game. Ego played Storm into the Ego location, which ended up taking away the Ego and changing it into a flooded lane. But Mellow Lemons ended up countering us pretty heavy with the Professor X, which I think I said in the video is one of the biggest counters to this deck. You need this deck to be able to push power into those lanes on that final turn. Is kind of like a surprise finish. But with the Professor X, yeah, Ego drowned his sorrows in the flood, and so with Professor X, that makes it really difficult. And so this one looks like it's probably a bot. We might be able to get some easy cubes back here if we play our cards here. So something like Patriot, Mystique into Khazar. Ideally, we could do an Ultron as well, but. Christy, I love that all the boosters have special colors now. Yeah, I think it looks so aesthetically pleasing to be able to just to have it color coded like that. It's something that's so simple, but I think is pretty impactful. It goes to making just a better overall experience. And then Molt, how's it going? I saw that we haven't connected since the game launched, but I know that you've been having a pretty crazy time. I've been having a pretty crazy time since it. It looks like your stuff's kind of popping off. You're doing pretty well with the launch, which I'm really excited about. You've definitely put in the work and deserve to be able to see some of that growth. And so I'm really excited for what's around the corner. And I'm glad that you jumped in today. It looks like you're getting a warm welcome from the chat. So we're gonna go ahead and play Mystique. It puts us out in the open a little bit. We don't have our Ultron just yet, but if we can draw into it by the end of the game, then we should be just fine. Well, yeah, man, you're killing it too. Streaming has been a lot of fun. Yeah, streaming and just working on kind of creating those different like that different content has been really rewarding. And so we don't have Ultron yet. We have a 25% shot of drawing into it, but we might also do something like Squirrel Girl and maybe Khazar, just to spread our power out a little bit wider. That way, if we do have to go with a Doctor Doom, we might be able to swing a win here and a win here. But otherwise, if we don't draw into Ultron, we're pretty much finished. And so let's go ahead and split the power just a little bit. The sexy medic. Oh, Molt's in here. Molt's in here too. Nice stuff. Yeah, and I'm always curious how many people lurk, because sometimes I pop into different streams and I don't necessarily want to say anything, because I don't want it to. Most of the time I lurk and I have it on the background, and I don't want to seem like it's an attention grab. And so I'm always curious, like, how many people lurk. I know sometimes Binks lurks in the chat. I'm curious if there are others as well. Octagons. Oh, you used to watch Molt Clash Royale videos? Yeah, so he's been putting in a lot of work in Marvel Snap as well. So definitely as entertaining as when he was playing, or I guess whenever you were watching his Clash Royale. So if you haven't given it a view, definitely check it out after the stream. Don't run off and leave me just yet, but definitely check it out in some of your downtime. I think we're going to go ahead and shoot our shot for the Doctor Doom. I think we probably lose, but I think it's worth trying. Our Doom bots are going to get a 4 power bonus, so they're going to be 9 power pushes into these 2 lanes. Again, we probably lose this one, but we'll go ahead and shoot it. We'll go ahead and give it a shot. Yeah, please don't leave me, guys. We had some issues at the first startup of the stream, but since then it's been going pretty well. Molt with Ragey Barbs. Avik, I just arrived. Thank you for joining us. I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. I hope that you're having a great Friday so far, and I hope that your week has went well. And so hopefully we can end the week with some positive cube gains to set it off on a positive tone. And then over the weekend, I'm going to work on some free-to-play stuff, some like pool 2 different kind of videos and different deck highlights that might be able to help some of our newer players that are coming in. Harry, I'm here for you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys not jumping in and abandoning ship on me. And then Jeremiah, thank you. Yeah, everyone, if you did like the last stream, and that only lasted like 60 seconds or so. It was the world's fastest stream before it crashed. And so if you like this one, or if you liked that one, remember to give it a like. I actually need to do that myself. I'm the worst at liking my own stream. And so I'll do that after this game to make sure that I hit it. But thank you for the reminder, Jeremiah. Akshay, I missed the notification today due to work commitment. I mean, Akshay, you're not too late. We've only been live almost 10 minutes now, so you're still early. You still have plenty of time for the TLSG content. Amriel, my first week of playing, I've played versus Sulky Hulky. Did you really? I just jumped on Sulky Hulky last night, and so what was your in-game name? I'm curious if I remember the matchup or not. Dad, are we live? Yeah, we are live, part 2. The first one ended abruptly, but today we are. Well, hopefully we're gonna be good this time. We took off the restream. We're not gonna push over to Twitch anymore. It seems like there's sometimes that creates some inconsistencies with our stream, and so I want to make sure that we give as good of a quality of stream as we possibly can. Patriot, Khazar, Blue Marvel, Onslaught is the best deck I've ever played. Yeah, it is pretty good. It can do some really crazy power pushes, and can be pretty surprising to the opponent. I don't think we drop Patriot just yet. Although Miniaturized Lab is tough. I think we're just gonna drop Sunspot for now, and then we'll see what we draw into. Actually, no, we have a pretty good curve with Patriot into Khazar into Blue Marvel. So maybe we do go ahead and drop Patriot. Even if we don't draw into Mystique, we have 2 other buff cards to drop by the end of the game. Oh, that makes sense. Great to see you. Omri, did you end up beating me? I'm curious. There are some games where I just get absolutely demolished on Sulky Hulky, and then some games where it goes incredibly well. I have a weird range of people that I match up against on Sulky. Sometimes it's newer players. Sometimes it's the same people I play against on my main account, and so it's weird. It's a weird balance. And so we're gonna go ahead and drop Khazar. I think we're going to split our power a little bit. That way we can push more power with our Ultron bots into the flooded lane. We're going to push Khazar into the vault. Next turn we can do like a Blue Marvel here as well. And then we can push for a win condition with our Ultron into these 2 lanes. You finally opened Mystique yesterday? Debrum, that's huge. That was my last card, and that was probably one of my more anticipated cards. And so that's huge. You think you won? I wouldn't doubt it. It's a very back and forth mix on Sulky Hulky. Aiden, thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you enjoy your stay. And then Ueli, thank you for the subscription as well. So a reclusive mind. I've played against both Sulky Hulky and TLSG multiple times on my account. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that with such a collection gap, there can still be those matchups. And then Molt, are you playing on stream or on BlueStacks? So I made the switch over to stream, and for the most part it feels okay. But if I accidentally resize the screen during the game, I can't get it back to the same aspect ratio until I leave and then come back. So it can create some pretty iffy scenarios. But I did make the switch over. It feels just a little bit more snappy, but I think the quality for the most part, since it is still that vertical aspect ratio, it's about the same. Yeah. Last night I was recording a video and I accidentally dragged whenever I was switching back over from screens, and I couldn't get it, so I had to scrap the game entirely. And so let's go ahead and play our Ultron. I think we win, right? So this is going to be 2, 3, 4 power on our bot, so it's going to be 5. So 5, 10, 15 should give us the win here. We feel pretty confident about this one. Jose, I've yet to face TLSG. I look forward to it. Yeah, I always enjoy facing people that I recognize from chat or that recognize me, and there's a lot of Spider-Man pointing back and forth. It's always fun whenever I match up against somebody that I know, or that I guess maybe not know personally, but have interacted with. Ooh, so the Dr. Doom may actually beat us. We win. Okay, no, we keep the win in the vault. We do lose the flooded location because of the Dr. Doom, but we win. Oh, maybe not. Depending on where the real Mysterio is. No, we don't. The real Mysterio takes it and swings miniaturized lab. Unfortunately, we are going to start the stream, Mr. Negative Stream. We're going to go -6. That one was rough. Man, you're too high up of a rank for me to play. We'll match up someday, Rando. I'm sure of it. And then Blight, what's the best way to get variants? Only got a handful since launch day. As you get deeper into your collection log, you get a better chance at variants. So as you start unlocking cards less often, you'll get more variants. And then just playing in your season passes. So the season pass, buying that each month is a pretty good way to get a few variants each month without actually having to pay for them directly. And then you get the added credits in the added card as well. So if you're looking for value for it, the season pass is always pretty good. Hey everyone, did you see my newest creation, TLSG? I have not, Dunkoro. If it's as invasive as negative serotonin, I am excited and scared at the same time for the potential of what it is. What kind of archetype is it, Dunkoro? I just need Patriot and then I can make this deck. It's pretty fun to play. It has some really big swings of games, because most of the time it's hard to anticipate from either you or your opponent where your power is going to stand. And so it's very fun to play. It's pretty consistent, but whenever you do get bad beats, you get bad beats. So you'll need to be tilt proof when you're playing this one. And then Eaton. Any merit in playing Cosmo over Rogue, maybe? There could be. The reason, or my justification for Rogue in the list, is that if we run into a mirror match, we can steal their Patriot, we can steal one of their card's abilities, kind of swinging the game in our favor. But Rogue, for most of the games, is pretty unimpactful, and so I think subbing it out for something else could be decent. Omri, I await the day I meet people from Discord in game. Yeah, it should be. It's always a fun time whenever that matchup or that interaction happens. Probably not as much as Negative Sarah. As for archetype, it's ramp on reveal. So is it like an Electro, or is it more so using like Psylocke?
Hey, welcome. It took you long enough.
A reclusive mind. Thank you for joining us as a team supporter. It is very much appreciated. Welcome to the team. If you refresh the stream, you'll have access to all of the growing list of emojis. I actually have 2 slots that I need to fill up from our launch stream, where we got an insane amount of support. I think we're gonna drop Khazar early this game. Actually, no, we're gonna hold it. We're still going to hold out for potentially doing a Patriot into a Mystique into an Ultron. If we can, there's the Ultron. So now we just need Patriot. And so with this, maybe we do go ahead and drop Blue Marvel. Next turn, we could drop Khazar and Mystique if we feel like we need to. If we draw into Patriot, that's going to be ideal, but Ultron should do the heavy lifting here. I'm going to go ahead and snap, try and regain a few of our negative cubes so that we can hopefully get back to Mr. Positive Streamer by the end of it. Wanted to add some positivity to the stream. A reclusive mind, I appreciate it. Electro Wave, Wong, Odin, Arnhem Zola. I love the Wong Arnhem Zola interaction, because then you can do Wong and you can do Gamora or whatever else you want in that lane. You can then double trigger it to leave that lane and re-trigger those. So I'm interested to check it out. Is it in the Snap.fan Discord? If so, I'll check it out over the weekend and I'll kind of do some testing on it. 1 Alpha. I'm currently using a Marvelous Khazar, and now at level 240 and rank 32 cubes. You're at a. Did you start on global launch? 1 Alpha? If so, getting up to 240 already is huge. I'm going to be making a few like pool 2 focused guides, and so if you're looking for those videos, those should be within the next couple of days. Yami Styles. I play a similar deck, but I use Shocker and Mojo instead of Squirrel Girl and Sunspot. Avoid the Killmonger targets. And to an extent, I almost like drawing the Killmonger early. That way, if for some reason we have initiative going into that final turn and we drop Ultron, it's hard for them to then kill all of those bots. But I have seen several that use like a Mojo, because your lanes are going to be full anyways, and then Shocker to get the Patriot bonus. And so I could see positive sides from both of them. But for this one, we try not to have initiative going into the final turn, but sometimes we do. Isn't Mysterio better than Squirrel? It is, but I very rarely play the Squirrel Girl. The Squirrel Girl is more of a backup to our play. If we run into a scenario where we don't draw into being able to push our power wide, most of the time if I drop Squirrel Girl, it's on turn 4 or 5. And so for the Khazar, we can drop Khazar and Squirrel Girl into our Doctor Doom if we don't draw into like the Ultron play path. But yeah, I agree in most scenarios. Mysterio could be a good replacement as well. What is the use for Invisible Woman? To protect our ongoing abilities. It makes it a lot harder for them to counterplay it. It does make it a prime target for like a goblin for them to try to cap it out. But outside of that, it's there to protect our ongoing cards. Not a lot of viable pool 2 decks. Zoo is top in my opinion. Zoo is pretty good. Hey Mayoki, welcome back to the stream. Zoo is viable all the way up until pool 3, and it just kind of keeps tweaking and getting better over time. But I think there are some alternatives. Once you get access to your Sunspot and Infinite, you can do some good things. Storm, you can do some pretty cool things. We can Sunspot just in case we don't draw into our other big cards. We could also drop a Mystique and then make sure that the last card that we play outside of the Invisible Woman lane is an ongoing card. But I don't know that we're at that desperation step just yet. Hopefully, we're still holding out hope that we draw into the key cards that we need. Feel my deck. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us for the stream today. I hope your week has went well so far. Wasp is also good because it feeds into that Patriot, which is good. This one, it doesn't always feed into the Patriot. We're trying to somewhat find win conditions if we don't draw into our Patriot. So what happens if we don't draw into Patriot and Ultron, or one or the other? We try and find a win condition between all of them. I think with the Patriot, or the ideal combo, your power potential with the Wasp, with maybe even Mysterio, is going to be better. This one with Khazar, I think if we ran Mysterio, we'd probably sub out Khazar because it would start being a little bit less impactful. But I think there are a lot of variations of this build that are viable. I think for the most part, your core cards are going to be your Patriot, your Mystique, Doctor Doom potentially if you want a secondary win condition in case you don't draw into your Ultron, and then Ultron. Outside of that, it's just kind of to your flavor, at least from what I've seen. And so we didn't draw into our Patriot. We have Khazar, we have a Doctor Doom, we have Squirrel Girl. If we didn't have Dream Dimension here, we could always drop a Squirrel Girl behind one of these cards. We could do Mystique maybe wide. We're gonna have to hope that we draw into Ultron by next turn. It's a 25% chance. If we don't, and then there's the Goblin, which is that my one hesitation to using Invisible Woman. Right now we see Goblins much more frequently than we see Enchantresses. Now if you get an Enchantress, it's always a bad beat. Invisible Woman just gives them the kind of that sneaky advantage to be able to counter your lane pretty heavily. And so with a Goblin, it's pretty much a retreat with Invisible Woman. One of the other cards that I toyed around with was Goose in that slot, which if you're not running it up against Enchantresses is a pretty decent kind of sub. But overall, it felt a little lackluster. You still want to play your Patriot outside of that Goose lane because you want your power push to go into the Goose lane. So then you're still susceptible to an Enchantress. And so it just really depends on what we're seeing in the meta. Danny Lego plays. Danny Lego plays. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. I hope you're having a great day. I see that you were able to just jump in. I hope you've had a great week so far. Yellow Jacket does have its usages. Very few. I've only used it in maybe 1 or 2 decks, but for the most part, the benefit comes from it being a 0 cost. But the drawback is that you almost always need to drop it early, or in a lane early. And so we're gonna go ahead and try the Invisible Woman again. If we get bad beat with Goblins and we keep seeing green Goblins, then we might pivot back into a Goose. And then with Sanctum Sanctorum, it might be worth it to not even shoot for the incredible high roll. As long as we can get some tokens in Washington, D.C. and some tokens in Sanctum Sanctorum, I think we'll have a decent shot. I'm going to pass for 1 turn. If we don't draw into something more ideal, then we can do Khazar into Blue Marvel into maybe a Squirrel Girl, or maybe we do some subsect of that. And then Danny Lego, I came back to the game after some months, was happy to see Ultron buffed. Yeah, Ultron's much more flexible now. It doesn't have to just be used in the middle lane. He still has his drawbacks, of course, but he's much better and much more flexible than he used to be. I always have a problem whenever they location lock a card because there's so many RNG elements that can completely tank it. And so outside of it already being, somewhat counterable, you don't want to have a Sanctum Sanctorum mid and then no longer be able to run your Ultron effectively. And so we draw into our Ultron. We do have a condition to push our bots in both left and right. And so I think with that, we probably go Khazar, maybe into a Blue Marvel, into Ultron on 6, depending on what it looks like they play. And maybe we play it safe and we just do our Blue Marvel in Washington, D.C. I think with the +3 power bonus, it should be okay. And then with Patriot, that's going to buff them all up by 2 more. No, I think we lean in. I don't think we play away from a Goblin here. We haven't seen enough to know if they're running Goblin or not, I don't think. I don't know, I'm torn. We might need the additional 9 or so power from our token here. But I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to play Patriot to the left, just in case they Goblin. Do 2 Odin's loop in a location along with other owner reveal effects in that location. So do they loop together? I actually don't know. I don't know if... So you're saying if you drop 1 Odin and then you drop another one, do they continue bouncing back and forth and re-triggering their abilities? I don't know. I've never thought about that interaction, and maybe. I don't think Strong Guy decks run Goblin either, but there's a chance. It probably was the safer play to just play it here, but I wanted to kind of cover our bases a little bit. And the token is going to be more power than Patriot, by far. The only reason for playing Patriot outside of the Invisible Woman is just in case we thought they were going to either like lock down or drop a card here. That would prohibit our ability to play. Oh, and so then they have the Rogue. Okay, yep, you guys are right. It was a bad call. It was a bad call. But now we get the bonus from Washington, D.C. at the very least. Not great, but it is something. And so we'll have our Khazar come down. It will buff up our bots once they come through. We win right. I don't know if we win left or not. It's gonna be close. I assume the real Mysterio is in mid so that they don't lose the Washington, D.C. bonus. Ooh, okay. We might still swing this one just because of the Washington, D.C. flavor. Yep. We end up holding it down by just a hair for 2 cubes. Those are the hardest fought 2 cubes we've ever went for. We take those. Sometimes you take a little bit of luck. The real Mysterio was left, which was weird. Q. It ended up being the same power as what the other one would have been. I don't know. Eric, good game. Almost got you. You did. I was really afraid of a goblin. I'm assuming you're Segretta's or Segretta Teza. I'm assuming you're Segretta Teza. I was afraid of the Green Goblin, which is why I left Patriot kind of out in the open. And it was very, very close. Washington, D.C. saved me on so many levels. I've only seen 3 Odin's loop with Wong. Not doing anything. And so maybe they put in some kind of interaction where it doesn't kind of interact that way. And then Ivan, we're already so close to 5K. Your channel has grown at such a fantastic pace. I'm so happy to see your work appreciated. And so it's absolutely mind-blowing. I couldn't have imagined that we would see anywhere near this amount of growth. Whenever I started, I went back and I looked at some of the older videos, and like, I'm really soft-spoken. There's a lot of like dead gaps, and the builds are sometimes questionable, which sometimes our builds are still questionable. But for all of the help that everybody in the community has given me along the way, as far as like tips for making the overall video better, for making our presentation better, I owe a lot of the growth to the community members, and so it's so huge to see our community retain that kind of positivity as when it was really small. But even as it continues to grow, we still see people jumping in and trying to help out in the Discord, really overly positive in the chat as well. And so it's fantastic to see. I'm really excited for kind of the future and what we might be able to build it into in the long term. No matter what, it's going to be a fun journey to see. And so I think we're going to skip on turn 2 as well. We might storm one of the locations on 3. Anyone, please, what's the battle pass? So Smeg, the battle pass is it's in US dollars. It's $10 each month. And it's their way to implement new cards and different rewards into the game. And so this month it's Miles Morales. I'm not sure like how much knowledge or like what you need for the battle pass, or like what your necessarily direct question is about the battle pass. But in general, that's what it is. I'm the only negative one in the community, but every community, it's all ebb and flow. It's all yin and yang. You need some negativity to balance out the positivity. But Dad, I don't think I've ever seen you be overly negative. There are some frustration points, but I think that's going to be with anything. And so I wouldn't classify you as overly negative by any means. So we have Ultron. We're going to be able to fill up each of the locations. The issue that we have is that we don't have a lot of buffs. So we don't have a lot of. We're going to be able to just drop Blue Marvel or just drop Patriot, but nothing else. So I think we're going to play Sunspot. Let it move. Actually, we can just play Sunspot in the flooded location. And actually, we could do a Doctor Doom into an Ultron, but I don't know if that's going to be worthwhile either. And so, if we draw into Patriot, we could do a Doctor Doom into a turn 6 Patriot plus Mystique as a potential way to do it. And if that's the case, maybe we go with Squirrel Girl here. Squirrel Girl will put 2 Squirrel tokens here. Squirrel Girl herself will move here. I think we go with maybe that. And then we go with the Doctor Doom path. And that gives us 1 additional turn to potentially draw into Patriot. It's called Premium on your screen. Gotcha. The Sexy Medic. No, it's all about the forceful positivity. You'll be happy and you will enjoy it. If the positivity ever comes off as forceful or fake, call me out on it. I'm just in general a pretty like positive outlook type of person. And so if for some reason you're ever like, I don't know about that one, call me out on it. So they have Wong. I don't know that it's worth doing a rogue to counter the Wong though. Although it would be able to send us 2 sets of Doom bots here. That would take away our potential to buff it up. Now, we do have the flooded lane locked down, at least for now. Maybe just in case they're running something really strong with Wong, we go ahead and steal it. Yeah, the Wong bug is still there. It still has the graphical issue of it shows the effect here, but it triggers here. Yeah, and I think we're gonna counter Wong just in case. And he could have a leech. Q uses leech a lot. In turn 5 drop, it could. Okay, no, it's magic. he played the Wong card, which he extends the game with magic. That gives us an additional turn to potentially draw into one of our win conditions. Was getting confused as nowhere does it say battle pass. Gotcha. Yeah, it's like the premium pass each month. So I honestly don't know exactly what it's called, but I think we do a Dr. Doom on this turn. And then if we draw into Patriot next turn, we could do Patriot and Mystique here to buff up our squirrels, to buff up our other cards. Mayoki, thank you so much for joining as a channel fan. The support is huge. I appreciate it. Welcome to the team. If you refresh the stream, you'll have access to the emojis. We have a growing list, and so definitely hope you enjoy your stay. And I appreciate the support. He has a Devil Dino, which is going to be hard to win. I mean, actually, we lose in the Bifrost location. I wonder if he's running maybe an Arnhem Zola play that would potentially try to maneuver these around. I think our best play is going to be Khazar into Mystique. No, it's not. We did Doombots. So instead it's going to be just doing Blue Marvel. It doesn't feel like a fantastic way to finish it, but I think that's going to be our best bet. And it's Q, so we're going to see it play out all the way until the end. But yeah, Zola does feel like a Q move. And with Wong, he could be doing something where he could potentially be trying to send it both directions, or send both cards in that direction. And so I think we just lock in Blue Marvel. We see what it ends up being. Smeg, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thanks, folded hands, and love the content.
Thank you for the folded hands. Thank you so much for the super chat. The support is very much appreciated. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the content. And then Zohair, are Mr. Negative decks worth running at the moment? They can be decent. If you ran it, Negative Serotonin is still okay. It's not anywhere near what it was in its prime. But ooh, he does get the Arnhem Zola, which triggers left and right, and we're gonna lose both of those lanes because of it. And so we did call the potential Devil Dino play. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough of a reach. And actually looking at it, Khazar plus Mystique would have buffed these up by 2, but then we would have lost 1 power here. So it would have been a net equal anyways. So we end up losing. We're gonna be super negative streamer today. This one, our matches with Q, we play out all the way until the end regardless. And so even if we don't have the ideal play line, sometimes we gain a lot of net cubes really quickly. Sometimes we go extremely negative. American Primate, thank you so much for joining us as a channel member. I appreciate the support. If you refresh the stream,
hey, welcome. It took you long enough.
If you refresh the stream, you should get access to the growing list of emojis that we have. I appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoy the content and enjoy your stay. And the Gene, love your content. Thank you so much. We may be negative in cubes, but we are positive in chat support. And it is very much appreciated, guys. You guys are fantastic. I continue to say it, but I think we have the best community on YouTube. Just the overwhelming positivity and helpfulness is fantastic. So thank you guys, and welcome American Primate to the channel. Rando, he'll be back in chat here in a second. Who was it? Did somebody? Oh, Broncos. What's the story with Q? So the story with Q, we started streaming during our lunch live streams. Daniel, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. We started streaming during our lunches, and then we started matching up against, and then Dakota, thank you so much for subscribing as well. And we started matching up against Q quite often. I didn't realize that he was a stream viewer at the time. Desmond, thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel as well. I didn't realize that he was a viewer at the time. and we kept having some incredibly tough matches against him. And then at some point, the connection was made that it was Q from in chat, and that he was watching the live streams and then intentionally trying to queue up against us just as kind of a fun way to see those matches. And so then it kind of came into this like rivalry, or that's what we built it up as, like a rivalry, an arch nemesis, because the matches are always so intense. It's never like a straightforward net deck. It's always something really flavorful, really surprising. And so that's kind of the story with Q and how that interaction came to be. And American, I'm loving Marvel Snap, but I was curious about the ratio between real people and bots during my matches. So earlier on, at least until around 40 or 50, and maybe even through your first full season, you're going to match up against quite a bit of bots, at least from the experiences I've seen from the beta. And it seems like that kind of holds true even after the beta has ended. But you're going to be matching against quite a few bots. After that, you'll start matching against humans quite a bit. So now I match against probably 90-95% humans, and much fewer bots than what we used to. But yeah, Jose, it's much better now, and I think it continues to grow over time. So as you start matching into those other players, I think it just continues to get better and better. And then Q, it was a White Tiger Zola shenanigans. Yeah, I like the Wong Zola interaction. It's so fun to see, especially I think it's really fun to pull off the Gamora into an Arlem Zola in the Wong lane, and then it just absolutely snowballs to insane levels. I think because of the Elysium reduction, we're going to go ahead and play our Dr. Doom. They have 18 power over here. Right now, we don't have anything that's going to buff our cards, but if we can draw into Patriot or some kind of buff component by next turn, maybe we have a shot. And I don't know that Sunspot even needs played. We don't have any energy that it absorbs this turn, so there's really no point in playing it just yet. We can play it next turn just as easily for the same effect. We are hoping for one of our ongoing cards. We have 3 in this list. That's going to be one of them. It's not the best one we could have hoped for, but it is one of them. But that also does not allow us to drop our Ultron. And so if we ended up doing like a debris, that's going to send a 5-power Doombot here. It's going to send a 1-power, a 2-power rock here. It's not going to be enough to overcome the flooded location. Without drawing into our buffs, it really forces our hand. We do have Khazar into Mystique, but that's not going to be enough for us to overcome. We're going to go ahead and back out of this one as well. Just rinse and repeat. A lot of this deck, when you don't get your ideal draw, sometimes you'll have to take a lower cube game rather than seeing the game all the way to the end. It's really easy to tell when you should retreat with this one. There's some decks where it's going to be really close and you end up staying when you shouldn't. This one, it's pretty clear whenever you shouldn't. So it's a little bit easier to make those determinations. And then Rando. So we have Morph and Mystique. Are there any other shapeshifters? I would love for a Mystique. I would love a Mystique for on reveal. Yeah, Loki. Have they mined any information about what the Loki card might be? And for those of you that, and don't put it in chat if they have. I'm just curious if they have. I haven't looked at too many of the mined cards, just so that whenever they do come up, it's a surprise. Loki's card doesn't exist yet. I think Loki's card can be really interesting depending on how they design it. I think it'd be a really fun one to see. So I think we probably drop Invisible Woman here. At some point we will storm this lane, probably on turn 5. That way we can avoid the Bifrost pushing our storm here, but we can still avoid switching hands with Mindscape. So I like this playline. We have the Patriot, we have the Mystique, we have Dr. Doom if we don't draw into Ultron. I think we have a pretty decent shot. And so let's go ahead and just do the Invisible Woman. We'll start stacking our buff powers into the far right lane after this. So we'll do the Patriot. On 4, we will do Mystique. On 5, we can do Storm and then maybe something else, but most likely just Storm. And then what we're hoping for is Ultron. And so that as long as they don't send us something negative here, or clog up our lane with like a debris or a goblin, then we have a pretty good shot at holding this one down. Yeah, there is a data mined on our Vil copier. I know that that one was supposed to already have been released at this point, and so yeah, that one should be pretty cool, where it like re-triggers the last on reveal that you triggered last turn. I think there's going to be some really nutty combos with that, especially with Wong being as good as he is with Odin now. I think it's going to be I think there's going to be some pretty crazy combinations. What do collector's caches contains? I haven't got there yet. So the caches and reserves contain a variation between cards, credits, gold, variants, and avatars, and then boosters are the 6 things that those could entail. And so once you get there, it's no longer guaranteed card pulls at a set range, but there's a bad luck kind of meter where you can't go more than a set number of caches before getting a card. But that's going to be your main source of pulling additional cards once you get to that point, Blight. And then Artemis, I've been trying to make a Beast, Falcon, Human Torch work, but it might be too inconsistent. So there's a deck out there, it's called Bounce Bros, that runs, I think, all of those pieces. And it utilizes some things that benefit from those cards kind of bouncing back into your hands. So Collector, I think it also runs Angela and maybe a Bishop. I'm not sure about the most recent iteration. But Artemis, there is a pretty decent core to that called Bounce Bros. If you kind of look around, I did some version of it, but it's been a little while back, and there may be some updates since then. What do the season caches contain? So Wodar, the season caches contain just about the same thing as a collector's cache or reserve. It's the same thing, minus new cards. You can get variants, you can get credits, boosters. I don't think you can get avatars, but you can get variants. Assisio Sweep, welcome to the stream. I'm so glad that you were able to jump in and join us today. I hope you're having a great day so far. So far, we're -14 cube streamer. We're going to cut that loss down to a -10, I believe. And then we're going to slowly try to work our way up from here. We have to start at a negative pit, and then we work our way up. We always climb for that ascension at the end of the stream. But yeah, the season caches contain mostly boosters. That is true. I think they lean more heavily towards boosters, but there are usually, if I get to about 60 or 70, I can usually pull maybe one variant from the season caches at the end past level 50. Then David, how's the day? The day so far has been pretty good. Work, of course, is work, and so that's there. But otherwise, it's been good. We are leading into the weekend. We've had a pretty positive week. We're still riding like the vibes from launch, which was insane. I still can't believe how well launch went. The growth that we've seen since then is phenomenal, and so the week has went really well. And therefore the day is going pretty well. I hope that you have had a great day so far as well, and that your week has went well as well. No, just cards, not variants. So if I already have the Sunspot, I can still get its variant, right? There are 76 cards, and each of them have variants. So how many months till the collection is complete? So yeah, once you have a base card, at that point you can start seeing the variants in your collection track and in your store. And so if you're going for a complete collection, including all variants, I don't know that you'll ever reach it. With the rate that they're releasing new variants and those other cards, I don't know that you would ever reach that point. But you can reasonably reach the point where even as a free-to-play, you can unlock all of the base cards. But from that point, it's a little bit more tricky. Thanos is the closest thing we have to an Eternal. Yeah, if he ever gets released, that's a big if. We don't know when or if he will even make his appearance. They said they want it to be monumental. I'm sure they will at some point. Galactus, I'm a little less sure about, just because of how much he can swing. He can swing the meta. Did we lag again? Akshay. Oh no. Are we still lagging, guys? On the OBS side, it shows that the stream quality is good, but I am seeing a little spike on the YouTube Studio that shows it's just a touch laggy. Three months for you, and you're only missing Goblin, Wong, and Doc Ock. Oh, Wing. So calling Wing. Thank you, Alvin, for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. We were really close. No, you're good. It was just a second. Perfect. Thank you, Malt. Thank you, guys. We were so close to 5,000. Like closer than I thought we would be. Honestly, ever. Like it's beyond what I had any thoughts about. I didn't think we were gonna reach this close this quickly. And so, if you're not subscribed and you're lurking in the stream, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if you are enjoying the content. I saw a lag spike, but it's fine now. Okay, perfect. Wired better now. Perfect. Thank you. And Sammy, those aren't terrible cards to have as your final 3. It seems like you got most of like the heavy hitters, and so from there, I think you should be in a pretty decent state. So we could either rogue his Wong, but I don't think we need to. We can do a Patriot, which is going to buff up, which is going to copy into our Mystique, which will buff up the squirrels from Squirrel Girl. It will buff up the Doombots from Dr. Doom, and I think at that point we're okay. Yeah, they do have plans for custom matches or friendly matches. Should be coming up pretty soon. I know that they're working on it, and like that's one of their immediate goals that they're wanting to push for. Yeah, I'd say within the next month or 2 months, there's a good chance we would have custom matches by then. That is rough. The Moon Knight capitalizes and causes us to discard our Dr. Doom. Our only hope is Ultron here, I think. Ultron could do it for us. That is not Ultron. So they have a huge apocalypse, right? Didn't necessarily pay attention and see. It shows that they discarded 2 cards, but they ran both a Moon Knight and a Blade and a Lady Sif. So they should have 5. So that means he was discarded 3 times. 8, 12, 16. He's a 20 power card. Eesh, that's rough. A Squirrel token is going to be 2, 4, potentially 5, 6 power. And it's only 1 here. I don't think. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that we can win this. The Doctor Doom discard into a not getting your Ultron. That's tough. That's just one of those that the Moon Knight hit a good target. We didn't have many in hand. We still had the chance to top deck, but it's just one of those that it didn't fall in our favor. Yeah, he has a 20 power Apocalypse. So there's no overcoming that amount of power. We didn't have a win condition in mid. So it's just one of those a bad beat. They happen. With this deck, you are playing a lot of cards. You're playing a lot of games. You're not going to win the majority of them or all of them, but you are pushing to win big cube games whenever you do win. Squirrel Girl cannot beat Apocalypse, but she can help replace Nick Fury. So I think we play our Squirrel Girl into Gamma Lab. That way it changes into a Hulk. Hulk will get buffed up by Patriot shenanigans and things like that. Maybe even do a Debris in Gamma Lab on 3 and just do it won't be our ideal Ultron play line, but it'll be a pretty decent play line either way. What's the next goal after 5K then? Honestly, we're just kind of pushing. We're going to continue to do and try to improve our content, and that's what I'm really wanting to focus on. Is doing bigger and better things with the content, and doing more consistent, high quality content. And so with that, whatever growth comes will come. I don't have any anticipations. 7K is the next kind of big milestone, or like 7.5K, and then the next huge one after that would be 10K. But I think that's quite a ways off. I don't know that that would be. I don't know that it will ever happen. If it does, fantastic. If not, I'm very happy with kind of the progress we've made in our community that we have so far. As long as we can retain that kind of those I don't know, those positive vibes, then I'm happy with wherever it ends up going. But the growth has been phenomenal, like more than I could have ever imagined. And so to an extent, I still feel like I'm uploading a video to 10 people, 20 people that you know, it's not going to be one that is just incredibly well received, or that it's not going to pop off like it does. So anytime one does, I'm still thoroughly surprised, and so it still feels unreal. It's a very surreal feeling so far. Dad, I still think you should do a weekly viewer game review where people submit their gameplay, you watch it on stream, and we all laugh together. I wouldn't laugh at it. I always try to put a positive spin on things, but I think it could be entertaining to do a segment on, like, if there's enough want or need for something like that. I think it would be pretty cool to kind of see the game from somebody else's eyes and kind of review it from that standpoint as well. I think we are going to go ahead and play our Patriot out onto the board. It leaves it open for a potential Enchantress, and honestly, we have no idea what they're running here. Oh, they're running a deck that does use Enchantress. That's tough. And they have Enchantress, so that's why they snap. Well, I think we have a couple of decent buffs from our Blue Marvel and our Khazar as well. We might just lose the Gamma Lab location, though. I don't see a way to push that one high enough to compete necessarily if they add anything big. Maybe they do a Venom, maybe they do a Red Skull. But I don't think losing Patriot is our only loss factor here. Wait, I think that's the dumbest joke that I don't think anyone will actually get. I didn't mean, wait, what? I missed your joke, Rando. Well, 50 is on the vision board, is on the vision board for sure. And it's a secret. I may have missed the joke. And I TLSG becomes a true YouTuber by reacting to other content. I mean, that's what a lot of people do. I don't know. I don't know that I react well enough. I have an analytical mind, and so they could do an Arnold Zola here and here. I have an analytical mind, so I'm not as, I don't know. I don't feel as entertaining as somebody that would do a lot of reaction style content. I'm not against it if it's something, you know, on brand and related to the gameplay. Absolutely. But yeah, if they do a Zola, we're dead. The 26 power Taskmaster. If so, they stacked it in the wrong lane. What are they doing? So they wanted to go with the Enchantress. Luckily, we had our buff spread out just enough. They had so many win conditions there. Stream looking like if I didn't have my glasses on. Is it really? Are we having connection issues today? So we're gonna go down to a -8. Or go up to a -8. Maybe we can find our way or claw our way out of this deficit by the end of the stream. That's the goal. Maybe we get positive, but maybe we end. We are rising. Yeah, we are rising. We're rising our way up. Hey Seth, how's it going? All the way from Oklahoma. I hope that you're having a great day. Thank you for jumping in and joining. I appreciate the support. Jeremiah, YouTube looks fine to you? Perfect. We might be having some lag spikes today. It may be an internet issue. I'll take a look at the logs afterwards to see if I can find any reason that it might be spiking. I do know that we're not restreaming to Twitch anymore, and so maybe that will free up a little bit of bandwidth to make sure that it's a consistent quality. I'm in pain as I realized a Taskmaster play wouldn't have overcome your lead. Was that you on the last game? Is that you? So if so, the Taskmaster. Oh yeah, because it would have taken most of your energy for that turn, and so being able to overcome all of it would have been tough. I was wondering why you opted for the Enchantress instead of like a Taskmaster, maybe even a Zola. Since we're gonna shuffle our cards after this turn, I think we might be fine still. We can do a Sunspot, let that start absorbing some energy, but we have the extra turn with Limbo location, so I don't think we force our cards out. I think we see what we draw into on turns 4, 5, and 6. And then Sissio, why does no one speak Spanish over here? I think in the Discord you may find some, and I know some content creators are starting to have the multilingual content, but for me, I don't know it well enough that it would be conversational. But I know that there should be, at least if there's not already, there should be some that jump in and pick it up sometime soon. I made a dump the secret joke, or a dumb the secret joke. And so yeah, I think you're right. I don't. What is it a reference from, Rando? Because you might be right. It might be one that's so obscure that nobody gets it. David speaks Spanish. And so yeah, there's I know in our Discord we have people from all over the place, people that speak several different languages. It's just unfortunately I don't. I only have English as my primary language. I've tried to learn a few others, but it's nowhere near conversational. It's very fragmented. So we have Ultron, we have Patriot. I think we wait a turn. We let Sunspot absorb some power. We see if maybe we draw into a Mystique to feed off of the Patriot. That way we can do an Ultron on 7 potentially. We do have a couple of extra turns here. Akaichu, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. I hope that you're having a great week so far. And I hope that your Friday's going well. Game changing. You're new here. How's your day going? I've always watched your videos and seek more strategy cards that you're playing. Good luck in your game. Game changing. Thank you so much for just for being here. It is very much appreciated. I hope that you're having a great day. My Friday's going well so far. My week has went well. And we're closing it out. We might be negative cubes, but the overall positivity of the stream has been phenomenal. And so overall, we're having a pretty good week. So I don't think we're going to get the ability to drop another buff card. We could do something like Debris, but they have destroy style components. They have the Deadpool that bounce back into their hand. It's, I believe, 8 or 16 power. We might not have a win condition here. I'm going to go ahead and skip one more time. I think we probably lose this one just to see how much power they push. We can do an Ultron, but they're only going to be 3 power Doom bots, or 3 power bots, and it's not going to be enough to overcome it. Just Ultron mid? I think so. I think that's going to be... I guess we could have Ultron mid last turn, and then we would have been able to do our Khazar this turn. We should have a decent shot in Limbo, but I don't think we overcome the 18 power Deadpool here. They could do a Taskmaster in one of these 2 lanes, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, it could be enough. That could be enough to win the middle location. So 8 from Ultron, 2 from Invisible Woman would push us to 10. Our Patriot's going to give us 11. That'll push us to 12. It's a weird way to win, but I think we have a pretty good shot. It might bring us back up to like a net neutral, and then we can work on actually going positive to end the lunch live stream. Akaichu, I'm so late. Yeah, we are winding down. We've almost been live for an hour now, but Clarice is doing good. She's actually all 3. Rarely, they're all laying on the couch, and so they're all doing well. I did not draw Mr. Zola, but thank you for the game. Always love going against you and tuning into your stream during hospital duty. Well, I hope that your hospital duty is going well today. And I appreciate all the games that we go up against each other are always really good. And so it's always a very good, hard match each time. And so I always appreciate those matches as well. So we do end up getting the 4 cube gain. We found the win condition just ever so slightly in mid with the 12 power play, which shouldn't have won. I don't know if they accidentally stacked too much power there or what happened, but yeah, Squirrel Girl might not be able to take on Thanos, but it looks like she can take on Venom, Deadpool, Wolverine, and the crew. And so let's go ahead and jump into maybe 1 or 2 more before we end the stream. See if we can get back up to a positive cube gain. The first couple of games, we had a couple of bad beats. We lost to our rival. We lost to Q, and so Soup Base is not a great one to go up against. I don't know that Soup Base has ever made it into one of my videos, but for anybody out there that doesn't know, Soup Base is a very consistent player. Their decks are always very strong, and they're one of the top players. They play very actively. I think they actually came in first in the Shield versus Agent event, and so it's sure to be a tough match nonetheless. And then Lillian, you said you forgot about Limbo. I'm so sorry. It was so very, very close. It was a close match even when you forgot about Limbo. And so we barely found that win condition. It was a good match nonetheless. As always, very much appreciated on our matches. And then Rando, the secret is a really bad self-help book that was very popular among soccer moms in early aughts. The idea is that you create a vision board and speak things into existence. So I haven't heard the exact, like, the secret or that reference, but I have heard of vision boards, and kind of that general thought line. So I'm following you now, Rando. We're gonna go ahead and play our Mystique behind our Invisible Woman. As long as we play like a Khazar or a Blue Marvel outside of that lane by the end of the game, then we should be okay. I'm a new player in Snap, but I've always... That's rough. Now we have two Invisible Womans, because they drug our Invisible Woman with their Polaris. Unfortunately, that revealed our Mystique, and so she countered or copied Invisible Woman instead of whatever else we would have wanted her to. The upside is we did draw into Patriot. We'll be able to do Blue Marvel or Khazar in this slot afterwards, and then even if they do something like an arrow, that should be fine. We should be okay. Matthew, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great week so far. Let's go ahead and drop our Patriot behind the now Mystique Invisible Woman. Ooh, and then they have a Wong. So this is a different suit-based deck than what I have ran up against recently. So I have no idea what kind of build they're running. All I know is that it's probably every time I've matched up against them, it's always a very strong deck. I think we go with Blue Marvel. The only advantage over Khazar for our Blue Marvel is that it will buff up this lane ever so slightly. I think we still probably lose this lane, but I think we play the Blue Marvel just for that extra kind of push on those few cards. Game changing. A new player in Snap, but I'm always using my own deck by using Ownerville cards like Odin. And so with Snap, I think one of the things I like about it the most is that it is a really small deck size, and so you can experiment really easily. Changing out a few cards you can really quickly tell the impact that change had versus something like Hearthstone or other card games that run a bigger deck size. It's harder to know if I take out one tech card and use another, what that true impact is. With 12 cards, you see it enough and you play it enough that it's pretty easy to tell what the impact is pretty quickly. When are you streaming Sulky Hulky? I'm waiting. We might do a Sulky Hulky stream next week. I'm working on a couple of the free-to-play videos for the weekend. Something to cover like some Pool 2 decks now that people are, in the global launch, they're getting to Pool 2. There's been a lot of coverage of Pool 1, but I haven't seen as much on Pool 2. And so there should be a couple of those videos in the next coming days, and then maybe we'll stream on Sulky next week. Let's go ahead and lock in the Ultron. Suit base a lot of times likes to run Arrow on a turn 5 play, but I don't know necessarily with this list. If they run an Arrow, it pulls us out of the Ultron lane, and it's pretty tough. They have the double Dr. Doom. We might get lucky enough to overcome that, but I don't know. It'll be tough. We might overcome the far right lane. 10 power's not... Okay, we overcome the right lane. We tie in the left, right? And we win in the mid? Just barely. We just barely pull off the win. I think honestly that's probably my first win against Suit Base. If it's very many wins, it's few and far between. I probably have maybe a 20% win rate versus them. So that win feels pretty good to bring us back to a net neutral. We will see if we can go positive. We'll play just a couple more games to see if maybe we can reach positive before we end the stream. I thought only bots could have the black and white variants. Yeah, John. So in the recent update, maybe a week or two ago, you can now get it from doing your infinite splits. And I haven't done any infinite splits, so I don't have any of the inkified versions. But it is playable from all players now. Eric, always loved playing against Ultron decks. I forced going second and Killmonger on T6. And so because of that particular hard counter, that's one of the reasons that in this list, I don't play much until turn 6. So most of the time, I'll only have power in one lane. So that way we can try to not have initiative. The goal is to not have initiative going into that final turn. And if we hide it behind Invisible Woman, that then also protects it from the Killmonger. So there's a couple of reasons why we built the deck the way that we did, because that is a very hard counter. You can all of a sudden take the lanes from 20, 29 power each to 4. Just by dropping a Killmonger, and then it takes away a huge part of that potential power push. Dad, I assume he didn't get a good draw. Are you talking about Suit Base? If so, yeah, I'm sure too. But it's brutal at the same time. A better counter is Cosmo to the Invisible Woman lane. Yeah, if you can figure out where they're dropping Ultron, and so with this deck, you do kind of, I guess you're very transparent about where you're going to drop Ultron. And so Cosmo could be a pretty hard counter. I haven't ran against any Cosmos, fortunately. It's been more like Goblins and Enchantresses. But that one could be one that hurts quite a bit to run up against. So I don't know that we want to drop our debris. Oh, actually, that's really rough. Nowhere is gonna make it where our own reveals won't trigger. Yeah, we're gonna take our 1 cube loss out of this one. We're not gonna be able to play Ultron really anywhere. Yeah, Dunkoro, you're right. We're not gonna be able to own reveal anything, and so left, right are gonna be locked down. Nowhere is gonna be incredibly tough. And so that's one of those that we back out of as quickly as we possibly can. There's one that's no win condition. For a 1 cube loss, that's okay. It's one of those that you kind of cycle through. You're gonna get those locations, those draws, those counters, but you try to capitalize on your win conditions when you get them. Bruno, oh my god, are you still here since yesterday? Me? No, we just recently went live maybe about an hour ago for the lunch stream, and so no, there's been some downtime since then. Rando, wow, I've been watching at like 10 minutes behind this whole time. Rando, no way. That always feels so bad whenever I do that. When I'm watching a stream and I'm accidentally behind, and then I realize that chat is blowing up about something that I have no idea what's going on until about 10 minutes later. I'm glad, Rando, I'm glad that you're caught up with us now, though. Yeah, his deck was the Wong deck I played, it looked like. Yeah, the Wong deck is really strong right now. If you draw into it in a good order, it's really hard to beat right now. But if he gets a bad draw, then maybe we can sneak wins from time to time. And we're okay with lucky RNG every once in a while if we can capitalize on it. I think Cosmo is one of the game's most impactful cards. Debrum, I agree. I agree that it gives such it's a tech card. It's like a Shang-Chi. It's like an Enchantress. It doesn't work every single game. Sometimes it doesn't really have much of an impact. But when it does, it can be absolutely game-changing. If you can last turn block a Hela discard or a Hela resummon, you can swing and win those games really easily. Same thing with like a discard that's hiding their discards behind and the Invisible Woman. Is this really the same -14 stream I saw earlier? Yeah, it is. Dunkoro, it is. We were -14 earlier. We're clawing and climbing our way up, slowly but surely, hoping to get positive by the end of the stream. Yeah, the deck, it only takes a couple of like really good high roll games to be able to claw your way back in. And so I did climb from 107 to 110 when I was just testing last night, and then I went up to 111 during the videos, and then while testing and brewing a little bit more, I went back down to about 109. And so it definitely, this one is very, very swing style. There is really no middle ground on this one. It's like an all or nothing. And so we are going to drop Patriot into the flooded lane. That should protect it from an Enchantress. They drop a pretty big power push on 4. Our ideal goal is to do Blue Marvel on 5 and then an Ultron on 6. The Washington DC lane should be an easy one to win, just with the +3 bonus that everything that we throw that way will get. Well, with Demon, maybe not. 30 power is quite a bit, especially if we don't draw into Mystique. If we draw into Mystique, that'll copy Patriot. That should give us enough power over there, but I'm not sure. Do you know when the update will be so that you can play with friends? They haven't announced it. They said that it's in the near-ish future, that it's on the near roadmap, so they're working on it actively. But as far as when it is exactly, we don't know for sure, unfortunately. I'm gonna go ahead and play Blue Marvel into Wakandan Embassy. That's gonna give all of our Doom bots +3, and so there'll be 7 power, 7, 14, 21, 28. It's not gonna win the Washington DC lane. And so in that case, I think we try to push for Wakandan Embassy in the flooded lane. And then Rando, you said you said to retreat. We might just play our Ultron into Washington DC. Play away from the bonus of our vanilla cards getting that extra +3, and we might have a chance. We might have a chance here and here, depending on what they drop as that last turn play. Snug, I've got to head off. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for joining us today. We are only going to play maybe a couple more. I really want to get at least neutral again or positive by the end of the stream, but we only have a few more that we're going to play through. With the Carnage, I'm trying to think of what this kind of deck drops as a big late turn drop. A lot of time their power push comes from a Sarah and like a last turn kind of flood on the board. So I don't know what big power play they could have. Our bots are going to be 4, so it's going to be 16 power here, which actually feels pretty low. All they have to do is push 6 power into Wakandan Embassy to win. I think we do lose this one. Now that it's coming down to the double stakes, I think this one's probably a loss. Andrew, late stream today. Yeah, so I had a meeting that ran during our normal stream time, and so I started just a little bit late. We are going to back out of this one. We're going to jump into at least one or two more. We want to try and get net positive before we end the stream, just to send off those weekly good vibes for the weekend coming up ahead. when TLSG says a few more, he means +1 for 2 hours. I wish I could disagree with you, Jeremiah, but you're painfully right. It's one of those games that the games are so quick, and I found that a lot of like the sponsored streamers are kind of doing the same thing. So whenever I was downtime on launch day, I kind of checked out some of the other sponsored streams just to kind of see their overall flow, how they were enjoying the game. To an extent, it's sponsored, so there's a certain degree of you don't know for sure if that's how they feel about it. But a lot of them, I heard the phrase "we'll just play one more" so many times that I have never felt more like understood, because I know exactly what that feels like. We could do it might be bad. We could do a Squirrel Girl into a Storm into a Khazar as a way, because we don't have any late power push with this deck. Our biggest power drop is 8 power, which is not going to overcome a late game. I think we go with a weird Squirrel Girl here, and then we go with Storm, and then we can at least end the game early and not have to play it out until the very end. Yeah, but I do think we lose this one. This is, I think, our only shot or only hope at winning this one, because they probably have some pretty big cards. It looked like they had a Patriot deck though, because they played Misty Knight to the left, right? We're gonna shoot our shot. We most likely lose this one, but we are gonna shoot the shot that we have. What the heck location that destroys? Yeah, so this one's a very rare one. It occurs just about as often as Ego, so it's a very, very rare location. So it's a one-time flooded location. Sunspot's probably the best top deck we could have asked for. That's going to give us over the next 2 turns, it's going to be like a 14 power push. Khazar, if the game ended after this turn, I would agree. Khazar would be the push. But Sunspot, I think, wins the game. Sunspot is going to be able to absorb 5 energy next turn, 6 energy on the following turn. And so, yeah, it can keep pushing, even if we don't get beat right. Even if we get beat right now, his lasting impact is going to be there. The only potential problem would be, ooh, so Brood. No, we have it. We have the 4 cube win. So even if, yeah, if this had been 4, it would have pushed 1 more here. We would have lost. So Sunspot is going to absolutely win the game. They can't play cards anymore. It's just a pass. So it's a forced retreat of bitmap. We were able to get the upper hand somehow. That world ship is not it's not our ideal location, but we were able to find a win condition with Storm and forcing them to play their cards in an unwanted kind of way or tempo. We were able to find that win condition. So that brings us to Mr. Positive Streamer. That, I know normally I do +1 for quite a while, but I am still catching up on work, so I do need to jump back over into there, and that one feels like a fitting and satisfying way to end the stream. I am going to go ahead and end it here, guys. I appreciate everybody that has supported the stream, all of our new channel members, our super chat. I appreciate all of you guys that are just joining and watching the streams, watching the content. I appreciate you guys from being here. I probably say it multiple times a day, but I think this is probably the best community that we have on YouTube. And so I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope that you have a great weekend as well. I will be back live on Monday for another lunch live stream, but we will have videos each day until then to help hold you over. I appreciate you guys. I hope that you have a great day. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys. Then Rando.